Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversation with Calvin, We the Species. And I got to tell you, I've been doing interviews and I've been doing interviews. And actually, I got started doing interviews because of Joe Bonanno's wife, Tara Jean. She's the one that got me into all this stuff. So anybody out there in TV land have reason to complain or say anything? Well, it's all their fault because Tara Jean hired me. Uh, Tara Jean hired me. Uh, I don't know, 2011 actually, to write for a magazine, and boom, 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 and then Tara Jean meets Joe, boom, 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 and the whole world has changed. My world has changed wonderfully, and as I pointed my finger before we went on air to Joe and Tara Jean, who is standing behind, who's going to come on next, it's all your fault. This is all your fault. Boom. But
I
it's
created a
wonderful.
monster.
Yeah, it's hey, it's just been a wonderful journey, and so I've been looking forward to this to corral you, to
Yeah,
lasso you,
we
and
finally
get
got.
you
He got me sitting down.
right. And I've been trying this for a long time. Listen, you're a busy guy with
Not
all
that
the
long.
gigs and all this stuff, but I've been wanting to do this for all kinds of reasons because it's loyalty and it's gratitude, and you've been part of my life for so many years, and it's very special to sit down and do this with you in the middle of January. And this is just a special time for me, and it's really special to sit down with you. Officially, the title of this, Joe Bonanno, Godsons of Soul Through the Years, because it's kind of a sentimental time that we're going to spend together. So, this official monologue has now concluded, and I'm going to introduce Joe Bonanno. And if you want to say a couple of uh, couple of things, whatever you want to say, or otherwise we will jump into our story, your story.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. I mean, I met you. God, actually, I met you when I was a teenager. If you could really think back on that, and I did tell you that you used to work. You were a pharmacist in a
Yes.
little place, Sobin's Drugs, in
Oh, I
Roselle at the
forgot.
Roselle Shopping Center.
I forgot.
I never forget a face.
Oh, wow.
And I never forget people. Actually, when I first saw you, I mean, you're 6'5", right? Six
Yeah,
six,
6'5".
maybe a little bigger at the time.
I
As a
bet that
youngster.
probably was.
And I remember asking, I distinctly remember saying, what team you play on? Who do you play with? You know, and you were like, you just chuckled and what about your business? And we never really talked much after that. And years later, it happened to be I met you at the Stone Pony outside. I was introduced to you. It was in 20, I believe it was 2012. I met you outside. It was one of the Southside Johnny. I think it was
Yes,
Labor Day performance outside.
yes,
Got to
yes,
talking.
yes.
You were telling me you gave me your card. And you said we'd like to talk one time. And so lo and behold, years went, actually a year went by, and we got to meet. You interviewed me with at the time with Tara Jean, and right from there, things led to one thing to another, and here we are today.
That's right.
But that's the history of me and you.
That's great. But I completely forgot that soap and drug thing. I haven't heard that name mentioned.
Yeah,
That's a very profound part of my life, that whole experience. And I actually write about it in my tortoise book.
yeah,
That I changed the names around to protect the innocent and stuff, but
yeah,
that's what that is, and that was an important part of my life in the pharmacy, and that's all I've forgotten. Before we jump in, I got to do because I was told to do this by PR people to tell people who are watching this, subscribe now to this channel. It takes about a quarter of a second to click and subscribe. Why? Because these crazy algorithms are all over the place, and they tell you get people to subscribe. It just helps the world. It helps this. Thank you. Okay, so I
yeah.
finally got you here, Joe Bonanno. Uh, um, yeah, every great musical journey, and I'm asking you questions now, start somewhere. Every journey, begins with the first step. That's what Confucius said. What's your earliest memory of music when it really meant something to you?
Well, music was always a part of my life. I remember when I was younger, growing up in Newark, New Jersey, and my mother always singing, like a lot of people, I'm sure. singing music, and me singing, around the house. And probably the biggest thing that I tell this story sometimes on stage is back then a lot of things were different. I remember my mother driving me and my cousin up South Orange Avenue, saying we're dropping you guys off at a concert. I was like, didn't tell us who it was. Here's these tickets. My cousin held on to the tickets. I didn't know where I was going. We went up to South Orange Avenue and we pulled up in front of Seton Hall University. And at the time, just dropped us off. Here I am, 8 years old. And my cousin was maybe 12. She was older than me. I remember walking up to the door, walking up, I'm like, wow, we're going to this big college. And open the doors and we walk in and the concert already started. And I look up and it was the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Wow.
And that just like bang, that blew me away. Just saying that was such an impact me. I go back, like to listen to a lot of older music, even influences me today. A lot of music I do now and writing, I always go back to the 60s, 50s, and 60s. It was a big part of my life.
And back
And
when you've
that's,
grown up, you kind of realize that's really who I'm going to be, is like a music person.
yeah. I went on to see them. I got to meet Frankie Valli a few times backstage, which was nice at the PNC and talking to those guys. And it was cool. And then as I grew older, I was involved in basketball. I played college basketball uh, at Union Junior College for 2 years. And then right after that, that's when I started getting more involved in playing out in a band. And that was in 78, 77, 78.
It's funny. You said basketball. I actually never realized that you were a basketball player. But you and I have one of my favorite. That's three favorites. That's as high as I go. Pictures.
It's in my office.
We were playing basketball. You
Yeah,
and me, and the
yeah,
basket. The basket was really 6 feet tall.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it looks like you're stuffing me.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
a great picture. I use
I,
it.
I, I looked at that picture 2 days ago.
Oh, that's so
The
funny.
office. I said, let me just stare because I know we're going to do the interview soon.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
so
I'm
funny.
glad you brought
Actually,
that up.
I've got to find that. It's just great because people think,
Yeah,
"My God, you're jumping so high to block my shot."
yeah.
Little to know we weren't jumping; we were standing on our feet. It was a
Hold
great
them
picture.
all. Yeah.
Um, so, growing up in Jersey, Jersey, a hotbed of music and stuff. And I guess you were kind of drawn, as you just said, to like the Four Seasons. Were there any kind of music that influenced you back in those days? Uh,
Well,
um,
yeah. I mean, all those groups I remember going to. This is another great story. I don't really tell too many people that because they think it's half of it's lies, but is uh, Richard Nader used to hold these concerts at Madison Square Garden, Rock and Roll Revival, where we'd have the Duprees, Fats Domino, Chubby Checker, all these guys. And what happened was my friend bought tickets. His older brother bought these tickets and he thought it was for like the Moody Blues or something. And he got home and I don't know how it got mixed up, but it was for Richard Nader's Rock and Roll Revival. He wanted nothing to do with it. So he gave us all these tickets. And at the time, in Madison Square Garden, they set up the stage like a boxing ring in the center of the arena, which was kind of cool. The Stones they did it already like that. So everybody was around. We were in the first row on one side and all around. And the whole time, my friend, I mean, it got out of hand. It was kind of sad because Gene Duke of Earl Chandler, he's singing. This guy, Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry was on the bill to end the show. And throughout the whole show, my friends were going, "We want Chuck." We through every act. And it was bad. But what happened was the minute Chuck Berry got on stage, my friends stormed the stage.
oh,
I got halfway up on the stage and a cop ripped my back pocket off. My wallet went flying. My friend grabbed Chuck Berry's guitar. The lights came up in Madison Square Garden and they ended the concert. Chuck Berry played one half a song.
wow. And you
And
guys were responsible for
and
that.
a mutual friend of ours, Dave Topolsky, He had a little bit of a tie with Richard Nader, and we tried to get that footage. I said, this footage has to be out there. It has to be out there somewhere. But over years they get rid of it and film, it just dissolves, it and wears out. There's nothing. So when Keith Richards was doing this, I think it was Hail Hail Rock and Roll, about featuring Chuck Berry, I said, I wonder if they'll put that footage in. That would be so cool, to see that. But yeah, that was I had to throw that in there.
Priceless. By the way, I never
Yeah,
knew
so
this.
Chuck Berry was a big influence. All these 50 people were, Ricky Nelson. I was there when he did the Garden Party song. That was at Madison Square Garden. Went to a garden party.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
song.
So
Great
all that
song.
younger stuff. And in high school, everybody was into Led Zeppelin, the Doors, the Who, more heavier stuff where I was always relating back to the older music.
Yeah.
I guess I was kind of an outcast, put it that way. Yeah.
Interesting. I listen. I'm older, and I grew up also. I'm a Newark boy. Uh, week wake section. It's
Yeah.
funny. I just had a reunion like an hour ago with some of my week wake buddies. We sat around and we talked about dances and parties and cheerleaders and stuff. And I yelled across the table, "Hey guys, we're octogenarians. We talk about other stuff." So we talked a little bit about basketball and stuff. Um, the name, the Godsons of Soul, it's kind of an electric, powerful name. It's got swagger. It's got some heritage mixed in there. Where did that name come from?
Well, first of all, how my name got shortened from JOE space Bonanno would happen at Joe Pop's in Long Beach Island. We played there many years in a row, like 3, 4 times every summer. And one 4th of July, it was windy, it was raining, and I pulled up, and the E fell off my name, and it
Oh,
kind of looked cool. It's like, wow, this looks almost like one whole name, like Joe Bonanno. It was like Bon Jovi type thing, but it was just one word, Joe Bonanno. So I went with that after a while. So that's where the whole one word Joe Bonanno came from.
wow.
Geez, and people say, what happened to the E? I says, well, when Elvis died, I took the E out of my name.
Wow. I love that.
So the truth is when the signage changed, and
Wow.
the Godsons of Soul, it just relates to, the real, well, at the time, the Godfather, the Joe Bonanno, it was kind of play words on that, Godsons being,
Correct.
yeah, so it was kind of a little tricky play there. Not too many people get that, but that's okay.
I
Yeah.
got it. I got it. It's funny, doing this interview for 5 years. I've interviewed Bonanno, yourself. I interviewed Genovese a couple months ago. I
Mhm.
interviewed a young woman, and halfway through the interview, she said, "You're dying to ask me about my last name." So I said, "It's not my business." She said, "Well, I'll tell you. Vito was my great great uncle." And I said, "All right, do you want me to continue interviewing you? I'm somewhat petrified. And I interviewed a Gambino for this. It's funny stuff. Anyway, um, how would you describe? Because I've always loved the title, uh,
Mhm.
the Godsons of Soul. How would you describe your signature sound? And
Well,
I have to show everybody this. Uh,
that's
uh,
something you made. That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had this made because I've known you for so long, and I've been there and heard. So that's what I had made up. This came from me. So talk about the signature sound a little bit.
Well, the sound is definitely a Jersey influenced sound with the soul coming. And like I said, I used to listen to a lot of the Motown groups growing up also, which was going back dated from what everybody else was listening to in high school. The Temps, the Forte, Tops, that whole genre, Smokey Robinson. So that was always in my mind. And then as years went by, starting to hang out in Asbury Park, that sound down there I could relate to from what I was listening to. And it just, it grows on you and you start writing that way. When you start writing that way, you start feeling that way. And that's how I sing, with a lot of passion and soul.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, listen, I've been to concerts. I've seen you, and I've seen the group and stuff. And I'm not just saying it because you're sitting over there, but I'm saying it because I feel it. There's a special, um, there's a special chemistry to your group, and what kind of makes that special chemistry? Um,
Well, I
my
think a
observation.
lot of it, a lot is the energy that comes off from my players. I mean, everybody in the band loves what they're doing. There's no egos. There's bands that have guys that, have a lot of egos and they don't get along and this one don't get along. Everybody, and it's done that way on purpose. I wouldn't play with guys that have big egos or are gonna start trouble, within the group. Because a lot of bands, it happens, that's how bands break up. And I've been doing this out in clubs, believe it or not, this is like my 45th year, 45 years. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And played a lot of places. We've done Vegas, tri-state area. So it's been fun.
Um, your bands are like families, I guess, and you're
Yeah,
kind of describing that, and that's like the heart and soul of your group. You're like a family,
yeah.
and I saw it, and I always see it when I've gone to your
And I
concert.
and I believe everybody in the band has their moment to shine. Everybody. It's you get back. Everybody has a spotlight.
So, and I created this. I show it again, Soul Fire Stage, because you're kind of known for high energy and emotional live shows. Um, Is there a conscious effort to try to make the audience feel something when they're watching you? Um,
Yeah, conscious interest is to make them relate. That's the biggest thing in music. As I'm getting older, there's songs I would love to do, but I can't see it. I got to feel it. And the people, I look at the crowd, and that's the kind of stuff that come to see us. They want to hear that. I'm not looking for the top 40 type sound, which a lot of bands in our area do just for that instant gratification. Yeah,
okay.
that's the trap, the instant gratification.
Yeah. Well, I know all about that. Instant
Yeah.
gratification. It's so funny you said that. I was just talking about that with this guy I drove back. Instant gratification, what I do as an author. I've written my third book. That word is not in any book. There's nothing about writing where there's instant gratification. You got to wait 5 years,
Oh, yeah.
and that's just one long, pre-session to
Yeah.
anything. Um,
And the instant gratification is the trap in the music business because as you're growing up, you want to do a lot of people want to just go and do that for the instant gratification, but the people that have made it are the ones that stuck by just doing what they want, the original music, and sticking to the original music. I mean, it happened to me as I got older. It happened to a bunch of friends of mine. We talk about it, we laugh about it, but as you play clubs, there's not too many original clubs in the area. So you say, hey, let's throw this song. You start putting more covers in, more covers, and it just keeps the originals fall a little by the wayside more and more, and you become more of a cover band. But like I said, I try to stay away from the top 40, what everybody else is doing in the circuit.
okay.
Stuff that more relates to the original stuff I do.
Okay. Putting on your memory hat, is there one performance that you ever did, a couple of performances when you walk away from that and you say to yourself, this is why I do this?
Yeah, I would probably say um, the first time Springsteen played with the band, back in actually, wow, it's been a while, 82 over at the Headliner. That was probably, I was like, wow, it all paid off. He came to see us numerous times before that. We were the house band at Big Man's West in Red Bank on Wednesday nights for
Wow.
like a whole year. When Clarence had the club there, it was a great club.
Wow.
But it was tough parking there, and he was on tour and mismanagement, and that's why that fell apart. But yeah, Bruce, we hung out a lot of times there, and he came to see us a lot of times there, which was kind of cool. But the first time he played with us, yeah, that was probably one of the bigger shows. And then being on stage with him bunch of times the light of day shows and Christmas shows. He had a Christmas show at Conventional. He used to do a bunch of them. He asked me to come up at the end, being on stage with him, Southside, John Bon Jovi, Sam from Sam and Dave, and Max Drummond, and everybody was there. It was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we don't not necessarily talk about Bruce a lot, but it's in the air we breathe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And probably, you go back and other than the Bruce thing, really, my son's involved in music and my daughter. I mean, and probably the first time my son and I performed together, actually him playing guitar. And he holds his own. He's great now. I mean, he's our main guy in the band right now. And he's singing a lot of backup. And the first time being on stage with him was really neat. And then to watch him at the first big man's when Clarence passed away, we all went down to Norfolk, Virginia. And my son being on stage, he was playing guitar with Bobby Bandiera. Vinny Lopez, Mad Dog was on drums. Garrett Talent was on bass. So it was like, the rhythm section at East Street Band, watching my son play with it was kind of cool.
What a feeling.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
great feeling, great feeling.
Yeah. I mean, tremendous feeling. I know that,
Yeah.
trying to get my son with stuff and um live music, they'll be writing books about this forever and ever, but live music changed a bit from the pandemic. Um, did the pandemic affect the connection you've had afterwards with audiences? Was there a difference in things?
It was weird, I mean, I remember doing shows, like even at Bar A, everybody sitting at tables and with masks on and, 6 feet apart. And, it was nobody was allowed to dance. That was the thing, I like to make people party, have a good time. And, that was weird. But after that, yeah, it took a while for people to start realizing, how it was back where it used to be before the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so how does a new song begin for you? Melody first, lyrics first, combinations?
Yeah,
Do you
it's probably a
tweak them?
combination. A lot of times, I'll start humming something or it just comes out of me, just start singing these words, these lyrics. I have, stuff I'll just put on a tape recorder or actually on the phone now, the iPhone, start singing into it and writing that way. I have a lot of stuff half recorded. We haven't put anything out for a couple of years. Last thing we did was a Christmas song, and hopefully in next couple of months, I'd like to get back in the studio and pull up a lot of stuff we have half written, try to finish stuff.
Okay. Okay. Um, you're married to Tara Jean,
Yep.
and we said it. I don't remember if we said it before or before we even went on air, but it's funny. We're talking about the big man. NJ Discover got the wonderful opportunity way back, and Tara Jean and I were reporters for NJ Discover to cover the first big man's birthday bash
In Jersey.
in
Yeah.
Jersey, and we did it at the Wonder Bar, and it was role reversal because I never interviewed anybody. I was too shy to be in front of a camera. Duh. So I had to interview the musicians and stuff and Tara Jean and my son Neil, who
Yeah, that
actually
was
working.
2013. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So that's 13 years ago.
Yeah.
13 years ago, and I was there at that beginning spark, so to speak. So you're married to Tara Jane, and of course she supports your music and your journey and stuff. Um, how is important, and this is a great question, how important it is for a partnership and emotional support, and particularly in an artist's life.
Well, each of us support, she's involved with her magazine now, Dining Out Jersey Shore. She's very involved. It's been very successful. She a podcast, and I know she puts a lot of time and effort. There's nights she's in the office there on a computer. I'm like, oh God, comes out, her eyes are red. I'm going, how much, but and I support that. And she supports what I do, where there's times, unfortunately, I missed few weddings. I missed your son's wedding, unfortunately. I couldn't be there. And that's the part of it she kind of understands. There's a little hard feelings, but that comes with the territory. That comes with the territory.
When you're singing and performing, and she's out there in the audience and stuff, love shows up. It shows up
Definitely.
in
Yeah.
what you're doing on stage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. When there's songs, I'll look out and I'll look into her eyes and I'll see that, not to get too corny, but it drives me sometimes, Sometimes I'll just close my eyes and go to another place and you think of these, old good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I've written about this stuff. I write about a lot because I've been here 78 years in this place called New Jersey. Uh, um, by the way, off topic. Off topic. You're in the entertainment business, and I'm sitting back and I'm watching. Just off topic. I'm watching what Netflix is going to do in Eatontown down the road from
Oh,
us, and then I
huge.
know Lionsgate and somebody else is putting up something in Hudson County. New Jersey's about, uh, and that's going to trickle down to you and your work. New Jersey's going to become a major, maybe replacing Hollywood because the whole world is changing, and that's going to. And I'm making this up as I go along, but that all of that entertainment stuff is gonna come down to you and your performances in your world because New Jersey's elevation and prominence
Yeah,
is
it's getting back to where it used to be. I mean, a lot motion picture industry started in New Jersey. People don't realize this, but the
that's right.
Little Rascals, our gang, most of it was formed in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Filmed, I mean, not formed, filmed in New
yeah,
Jersey.
oh,
It was shots in California, but a lot of it was done here.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. I have the book. I'm trying to think where it was. We played up that way. What town is it? Not Little Falls.
Well, I believe that the film industry was born in Fort Lee.
Fort Lee. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of it. Yes, Fort Lee. Right, that's where it was.
Yeah,
Yep, which was kind of cool. Now bringing Netflix is going to create a lot of jobs for a lot of people,
yeah.
which is good. It
It's
really
good
is.
for all of us. It's going to raise everything is going to get raised up.
Yeah, it's going to be good for the restaurants. It's going to be good for
Everything.
everyone in the area. All the
Correct.
vendors, stores.
Correct. It's just good all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think New Jersey produces such gritty? I'm looking at you, and, Bruce Bon Jovi and stuff, and Jack Nicholson, Meryl Streep. Is there something you can put your fingers on, and something about us, the fact that we've been in the shadow of New York and Philly, all these years, and now maybe we want
Well,
our
maybe that's
independence?
that what you just said probably maybe has a lot to do with it because I was trying to compete. And sometimes when you try to compete, you become off a little tougher. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being wimpy or, New York's a tough place. Philadelphia's a tough place. I've done a lot of shows in Philadelphia, and it's a great party town, but there's a lot of tough people, to convince, and being in that area in the circle of that, especially we've done shows in Baltimore, and it's the same thing. That area, we're surrounded by all those towns or, cities where a lot of tough people. So it makes you tougher.
Makes you tougher, and you see it because you've been like all over the place. You see it. There's something about a New Jersey crowd, and I've seen when I'm at your concerts, I've seen people, like really into it. So what makes
Yeah.
that? Is there something we can put our fingers on that makes a New Jersey crowd watching you perform something different?
Uh,
I don't know.
I just think they really enjoy the music. I mean, where we come from, they really enjoy it. Like in Nashville, it's like it's a little different. And I'm starting to notice this is something if you ever go to a club and you go, I like to go try to see as many bands, Tara myself, when we're not working. Excuse me. And it's funny today, the younger kids, they like the music, but they don't applause. You go check that out next time anybody out there goes to a club where older bands like myself and stuff, we'll get done with a song. As long as you don't segue, right into the next one, there's a little breathing room. People cheer, they clap. But if you go to younger kids and you see this, it's a weird phenomenon that's happened. It's like they appreciate it, but they don't appreciate it, you know?
I know.
It's like, okay, you're up there. Okay, you know, next
So
song.
you see it because you're on stage. You
Yeah,
see
you see and feel. And that's what kind of drives being in entertainment is feeling that back, you know? And younger kids, I don't know how, I don't know. I think that's where a lot of the soul and passion, it's fallen by the wayside. Yeah.
a lot of things are falling by the wayside. We can talk about that for
Don't get me
hours.
wrong, there's a lot of great kids
Oh,
coming up.
sure,
There's a lot of great kids in the area
sure.
growing up and
Yeah,
learning the music, the trade.
yeah. I mean, this is such a hotbed because it's such a hotbed of music here. The Asbury Park scene, all this stuff. It's just different. If you grew up in Great Falls, Montana, it's just a different world. You
Oh,
know what we experience here because everything is just so intense. I always describe New Jersey as I open up my window in the morning and I look out and I see 8 million neighbors. You know, that's I made that up. But, it's kind of funny. It's half true. Half true.
we're are we the most densely populated state? I
Yeah,
believe.
we are. Oh, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. We are the most densely populated state.
Yeah.
And everybody gets up at 6 in the morning. You go to take a shower. There's no water pressure because we're all getting up at the same time. I
I'm
make
on
this
well, I'm
stuff up.
on well water. I don't have to worry about
Oh,
that.
good for you. Good for you. Yeah, we were talking about fans, and I remember at some of the concerts I went. I haven't been in a while because I'm sequestered. You can't see, but I'm chained into my seat, and I'm only unchained when I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm chained.
Oh, you're not. I saw you at a couple Rutgers games. I know
Yeah,
you.
that's
Yeah.
right. We have pictures, from the
Yeah.
Rutgers game. I don't want to talk about that. That's a bad subject. We'll just leave that go. But yeah, I saw actually one woman stands out. She was just an amazing fan. Do you have any particular any particular fan experiences that stands out? That's you have this I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
When we first started out, it was we were doing some of the high school scenes, doing concerts, and it was really funny and it was very unexpected. I'm probably blushing talking about it, but I remember doing I don't know what song it was. I'm singing it, and all of a sudden I hear this, "Get out of the way!" All these people, these girls. Actually, I wish we had a video of it. It'd be kind of cool. I had a brand new shirt. These girls ran on stage and ripped my shirt off and ripped my shirt to pieces. I had scratches on my arm. I had to go behind the curtain. They stopped the show and like they got them all off stage. It was it was pretty funny. Now you look back about it. I thought about that this morning when I was looking at a couple of the questions. I was like,
Huh?
wow, I forgot.
That's so
I
funny.
forgot all about that. Yeah.
So funny.
That was
Uh,
kind of cool.
when somebody sees you, like for the first time, what do you hope stays with them? Because you're so dynamic up there, and that's why I did this.
Um,
So far, is what do you hope stays with them? I mean, I as a writer, I hope somebody takes something about what I
yeah,
write.
I hope they leave our shows with happiness, forgetting about at the time, about the way the world is, and they could just walk away and want to come back. Want to come back. They know they could come there and escape reality and enjoy themselves, you know, like delve into the music and really leave peacefully. Yeah.
Uh, Off topic, I like to ask this, and I borrowed this. I'm not embarrassed to say I'm a journalist. I borrowed it from Barbara Walters, and I don't think I ever asked this to you because I think I ever had you in this position, which sounds funny, but
Yeah, I did make 91 foul shots in a row. Is that what you're going to ask?
wow, no, but did you
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
91 in a row?
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I thought you were going to ask that.
No, I wasn't going to ask that, but what I'm
That's
going to
off
ask,
topic.
excluding, I like this question. It's a little provocative. Excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Wow.
Yeah,
Other
there could be a couple.
other
There's
than
no rule.
Jesus, other than Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, sure, because that's always on top of everybody's list.
Right?
Sure.
It's it can't be family, obviously. I would say my father, but yeah, probably, Elvis Presley be kind of cool.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got pretty actually pretty close to his band guys one night. We were down in Atlantic City and they were doing a show in memory of him, and they had the Jordanaires there, Elvis Presley's original band. Carl Perkins was there, Roy Orbison, and we were in the green room. Me and a good friend of mine, guitar player Dennis Mealy, and we got to sit and we talked with these guys for hours as the show was going on, and afterwards, just to hear these stories about Elvis Presley, I was like, wow, that was kind of cool. And yeah, it was. That's probably the guy, just to hear some of his stories.
Right. Great
Yeah.
answer. Great answer. And so is the first one. Great answer. I would say that too. I pretend I'm asking myself the same question, and I always picture myself wearing some kind of a toga and sitting in some kind of a valley, and there's a guy speaking to a bunch of people. And I got that scene from Ben-Hur. And Jesus is up there, and I'm kind of listening. And I've got my own spiritual stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, do you have some favorite movies, by the way?
Yeah, if you want to go back, this one,
Sure.
maybe you probably heard of, I don't know how many people, Jason and the Argonauts.
I've heard of it.
That
Uh,
that,
I've,
that
I've
was
heard
a
of it.
good one. Yeah, that
I've
was
heard of
good. That was a good one. Musically, Eddie and the Cruisers, a big B movie.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there.
But
Yeah,
was there an element of truth in that movie, Eddie and the Cruisers? They
not
they made
really.
it seem like it was real, but it really wasn't.
Yeah. It was actually Southside Johnny had a lot to do with that.
Oh
A lot
wow.
of big, yeah, yep. He had a big part of that. He actually wrote a lot of the lyrics for the song Dark Side. I remember having dinner with him. He was telling us the whole story, how it all came about. It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That was probably that. There's good ones, obviously. You love Animal House because that reminds me of the times, back in college and then going hanging at Rutgers University at the old Sig Ep house and then Lamba Kai where they used to have the hop. That was those days were crazy, playing bands. We used to do all the frat houses playing back then. Some funny times.
it's
Yeah,
funny. I went to Rutgers Newark, so I never experienced that.
yeah.
Never.
I remember playing on campus and James Gandolfini was the manager. Oh God, he would kill me. He would say, "You're not getting paid till every piece of equipment's out of here." I'm going,
Wow.
"I don't do that. We have people, we have roadies to do this." He goes, "I don't care. You're not getting a check." He was a prick, put it that way. But afterwards, we talked to him. I mean, before he died, I got to talk to him a couple of years before. We brought up a couple of people he used to work with. We laughed about it, you know. But he did remember those days. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
He's a hero of mine for a lot of reasons. The Rutgers guy.
yeah,
Uh,
right.
as we wind down, uh, so what keeps you going? The late nights, the rehearsal. I mean, all of this. What's that piece of energy that keeps you going?
Coming home to a beautiful wife. How's that?
Perfect.
Is that the
Hey,
perfect answer?
that's perfect. That's as good as it gets, which
Yeah,
is a movie, as good
that's
as
the
it
movie.
gets. Yeah, with
It's
Jack
good.
Nicholson, and Helen Hunt. I saw that the other day.
Yeah.
That's why it's popped into my head. A lot of
Well,
people don't know
yeah, yeah,
Jack's right. Jack's from Manasquan.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. What
yeah.
Jersey Shore, produces that. Um, so the last question, kind of ethereal and mysterious. What does it mean to be human, part of We the Species, which is the title of this
I mean, it's
podcast?
being human to, just experience all these parts of life. I've been blessed. I really have. I mean, I have a great family, great stepkids, you know, beautiful mother, everybody, I'm blessed.
It's
I'm
great.
playing, performing with my son. My daughter's a singer. She has some records out. So that whole thing,
It's great.
it's been a good life.
It's been a good
A
life.
lot more to do.
A lot more to do. I
A lot
agree.
more.
It's a wonderful life. The movie, boom, it's a wonderful life.
That's another great one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. By the way, nobody knows this. It's a Wonderful Life was written by a Rutgers guy.
Really?
Correct. Philip Van Doren Stern wrote that.
Wow.
I'm filled with all these ridiculous facts, but he wrote that in 1933, and nobody wanted to publish it. So he self-published.
Wow.
Nobody in 1933 self-published. Something like that. Maybe it was 40. No, it wasn't 43. He wrote it. Go back. Nobody wanted it then, and nobody wanted to read it. Nobody cared. So he knew this guy, Frank Capra. And he said, "Hey, Frank, I wrote this here. You can have it." And and that's the story of It's a Wonderful Life.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And it's been a wonderful life for me, meeting you
Yeah.
and knowing you.
Yeah. Vice
Uh,
versa, you know.
it's been great. We've had a
Always
great,
good times. Always good times at your show when you and
yeah,
Tara had the TV show. That was
yeah.
great.
It was
Met
great.
a lot of people, right?
A lot of people,
Yeah.
and you were always there, and supporting her and
Yeah.
supporting the show, and it really was a great TV show. And looking back on it,
You had a lot of great guests. God, from
truly,
music to comedians, right? To wrestlers,
yeah. We had two world
politicians.
champions, right? Yeah,
You had it
we,
all.
we had it all. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Sarah and I were the pieces of energy, and it was all her. She was all this piece of energy that got me started, helped me change my whole life around.
Yeah.
As you.
Yeah.
So my journey with you has been great. Has been great and wonderful, to be continued. And thank you so much. I know how hard it is to get you to sit down and do this. Not easy. So I'm really grateful for you, and thank you, Joe.
All right.
JOE, JO.
There
Thanks,
you go.
Joe.
Joe
You be
Bo.
well.
All right. Thank you, Cal.
Yeah.
It means the world to me being on the
Yeah.
show. It's an
Uh,
honor, and God bless you, and keep it going, man.
I'm keeping it going.
Keep it going.
It's
You're
great.
blessed. You're
It
a
keeps me
blessing.
out of the kitchen. It keeps me right here. This is great.
All righty. You
Thanks,
take
Joe.
care. All right.
Don't
Bye-bye.
leave. I'm just going to stop recording. Thank you.